Hello, dear friends. There is no known cryptocurrency that is part of the new quantum financial system, according to Cobra. Opinion piece New Atlantis. Simply beautiful. A luminous society. The eclipse activated it. We will live in harmony. Final stage of the battle. Imagine a world in harmony. It will manifest after the event. There will be no more suffering. The summer of love will return. Sentient beings will not be harmed. Let's start. The eclipse activated the energy of the New Atlantis. That is, the original program of the New Atlantis was reactivated by the solar eclipse last Monday, April 8th, according to Cobra. This total solar eclipse was an intersection of late lines of space and time that changed the destiny of humankind for the better. At the time of the solar eclipse, many portals of darkness were closed, and many portals of light were reactivated. Pluto in Aquarius opens the portals of light. The war between light and darkness is not over yet, but we are in the final phase of it. Pluto in Aquarius is the right time to forgive and release dark energies from Atlantis. People feel guilty about what happened in the last stages of Atlantis. They need to forgive themselves and recreate this civilization of light again. There was too much pressure in the later stages of Atlantis. People had to deal with many dark beings. After the event, dark energy will be dissolved and transmuted. Cobra said that we are activating the new Atlantis now, and nothing can disturb that. This would be the end of darkness forever, once the event occurs. New Atlantis is a utopian novel written by Sir Francis Bacon, published in 1627. It represents the island of Bensalem as a model of community where science is fundamental to harmony and happiness. Cobra said the solar eclipse and the US election are the two most important events this year, but he responded that the important thing is not to get involved in political polarization. We should simply focus on anchoring the light. What has to happen will happen. Missionaries of light are facing extreme attacks in recent weeks, starting in December. Cobra said that the forces of light are greatly reducing the power of those attacks and are estimated to decrease in frequency. Asked if Elon Musk is a black or white hat, Cobra said that he is a confused hat. Workshops. This information comes from two workshops on the New Atlantis organized by Cobra that took place in Sedona on April 4th and in Rochester on April 8th, 2024. Rochester was chosen because it was at the intersection of the total solar eclipse and was part of the ancient Atlantean equator. A week or two before April 4th, 2024, the forces of light began to close dark portals on the planet using a very special technology to do this. These portals were thousands and tens of thousands of years old. The dark forces are losing a lot of power on the energetic planes, and the light forces were able to anchor the light in the Sedona vortex on the physical plane for the first time in 28 years, one day before the workshop. There was a 60% chance of this happening, and it actually happened, which was a huge success. Energy from the galactic central sun is beginning to reach the planet's surface as the dark portals close. Tachyons are the first particles created during the last cosmic cycle. They are therefore the particles that are most aligned with the source. The emerald is a very important stone. It is the stone of hidden knowledge and opens the portals to Agartha. Tachyonic energy is necessary for harmony and balance. Tachyons are subatomic particles that travel faster than light. They are the first matter that was created in the universe. The dark forces have a veil in the ionosphere surrounding the Earth, which absorbs the tachyons and prevents them from reaching the surface. Tachyon chambers use hyperdimensional wormhole technology to deliver tachyons to the planet's surface from space station. Cobra said that the Pleiadians had ordered him to build them. Progress. Very important progress was made earlier this month. On the afternoon of April 3rd, the light descended into the physical plane, and positive forces managed to anchor the light into the physical plane through all the layers of the quarantine in Sedona, Arizona, for the first time in the last 2 decades. This was a great achievement. At the same time, the Statue of Liberty was seen to be struck by lightning exactly as at its torch. The lightning strike on the Statue of Liberty was part of the same process. This was due to a plasma discharge and activated the light victory archetype. The earthquake in New York and New Jersey on April 5th was the beginning of a very intense purification process. It cleaned everything that needed to be cleaned before the eclipse that was the activation point of the new Atlantis. The New Age. According to Cobra, the US could have been the triggering point of the new Atlantis in the first half of the 20th century, or in the 1980s and 1990s, with the New Age movement. When the forces of light prepared positive vortices in the southwest of the country, but in January 1996, the Archon invasion occurred, and the dark forces destroyed those vortices. Dreamland is a code name for underground bases in the southwestern US. This abruptly stopped the process of humankind's ascension. Since then, there hasn't been much light on the planet's surface. The New Atlantis project had to be on hold for the last 3 decades, with an intense battle between light and darkness, and now we are in the final stage of this battle. After the Second World War, there was a pact with reptilians, draconians, and reticulans, and the Ashtar Command was forced to withdraw. This coincides with my opinion that the movement New Era was born pure and then they deaded it. In quotes, if you are going to San Francisco, be sure to wear some flowers in your hair, as the beautiful song that has always moved me says. It was written by John Phillips, a member of the group The Mamas and the Papas, and sung by Scott McKenzie. It was published in 1967, whose summer became famous as the Summer of Love. It is considered a universal cultural icon. The Great Forgotten. There was a plan for humankind's ascension before the Great Forgotten in 1996. That plan was compromised and many ascension hypotheses collapsed as a result. There were 3 major ascension hypotheses before 1996: Los Angeles, Sedona, and Mount Shasta. In 1996, dark forces collapsed those vortices to prevent humanity's ascension. Those vortices were then in a state of disorder, although some energy work was subsequently done near those vortices, but it wasn't enough. Conditions in Sedona before 1996 were very favorable for first contact, but negative forces filled the spaces between Sedona and Orion with darkness. They used dark magic and infiltrated with the Draconians. The commercialization of the New Age movement was the result of the infection of the Sedona vortex since 1996. The forces of light have been reversing this infection for a few months now, and the light vortex in Sedona is beginning to awaken again. A very high-level insider asked whether in 1996 the Nazi government in exile broke contact with the Sufis population. Cobra responded that a part of the Illuminates went underground in 1996, and that the inhabitants of the Reich had different religious identities and were very negative. Although they were heterogeneous in terms of ideology, they were forced to cooperate with each other. Their goal was to create an underground civilization called the Fourth Reich, after which they could emerge from the underworld and conquer the surface of the earth. Of course, this was not allowed to happen. Reconstruction. Saint Germain's goal is to recover Atlantis. This project is supposed to be a revisited Atlantis to prevent the same mistakes from being repeated. To revisit means to recreate, that is, to update or re-examine something to correct, amend or repair it. It refers to the act of recreating a place that has been previously discussed or written about. During the Golden Age, which is beginning to arrive, Saint Germain is said to lead a divine brotherhood that combines the energies in plural of the angelic, human, and elemental realms, expressing unity, harmony, and cooperative love between evolutions. This brotherhood will find hospitality and opportunity on Earth. There was much light present on Earth 26,000 years ago and before, with Ascension temples, until dark forces corrupted the Atlantean priesthood and began experimenting with implants. There were huge crystals, but the Atlantean continent was submerged under the ocean due to an experiment gone wrong. According to Cobra, true awakening can only take place when the true light is present, which will be possible again, and the forces of light will help all who want to be part of this. In his opinion, there is also an Atlantean fear network, and the Dark Atlanteans tried to implant some light missioners about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Some implants were successful, but the matter is now resolved. Cobra said that there are still many dark portals in Atlantis and they need to be closed. This will happen in the coming months. 3 Atlantis. The new Atlantis will be the third phase of this project. The first Atlantis was in the Pleiades star system. It was the first attempt to build a harmonious civilization of light. It was very beautiful, but unfortunately it exploded when the Pleiadians tried to transfer it from the etheric plane to the physical plane. The second Atlantis was an island in the Atlantic Ocean. A powerful and harmonious civilization was built there, but dark forces infiltrated the second Atlantis in its final stages, leading to the quarantine situation we find ourselves in now. They experimented with natural forces and with implants, which caused an imbalance that caused the island to sink. The name of ancient Atlantis was Tulant Lapalam, and Tulai would be a shortened form of this. The civilization of Atlantis, which emerged after the Lemurian era, was marked by great enlightenment, understanding, and unity with the divine presence. The Atlanteans knew the power of radiation and had evolved advanced technologies. The last remnant of Atlantis, called Poseidonis, sank about 13,000 years ago before Christ. The third Atlantis will be a rebirth of the positive light civilization that existed during the second Atlantis. Sentient has worked on this project for many lifetimes. For example, in his incarnation as Francis Bacon, he wrote a book called New Atlantis. This book contained his vision for recreating Atlantis, but of course it conformed to the concepts of the people of that time. In his most famous incarnation as Count of Saint Germain, he was actively involved in creating America as a place where people were free to grow and explore their spirituality so that ultimately a new civilization of light could be built. But there were many people who he followed his instructions in the Masonic lodges in the 18th century, which had much more light than those of today. New civilization. The new civilization of light will manifest after the event. In the ancient second Atlantis, which was in the Atlantic Ocean, there were many healing temples. It was a civilization where technology and nature coexisted in harmony. All its citizens followed their inner guidance. There was no conflict, no competition, no exploitation. We now need to build that version of Atlantis within our minds before it can manifest in the outside world. In the new Atlantis, there will be free will, harmony and love for nature. There will be no suffering. Everyone will work to help others. There will be no harm to sentient beings. There will be no toxins or poisons in food. We will all be fully empowered human beings and live in harmony with the sun. Dark forces will be gone forever. Human beings will be fully aware of who they are. There will be no distorted buildings, and we will see beautiful architecture everywhere. People will be aware of their past lives, and there will be no illness. In the new Atlantis, there is advanced technology, and it is part of our daily lives. Soulmates and twin flames are also everywhere. People are allowed to exist on the physical plane as long as they want. There is no way for darkness to exist again. Imagine. My new Atlantis is beautiful. It is lush green. There is dance and music everywhere. And there are angles and architecture that have a higher order and structure. There is abundance for everyone. People have the wisdom to create that which is their highest purpose. There are no soul-sucking schools, no government, no regulations. There are lovers everywhere. There is a golden sun and a rainbow. In my new Atlantis, there are crystals everywhere. There is no congestion. There is room for everyone and abundant nutrition for everyone. People are not afraid of others. There is unconditional love for Source, and everyone feels safe and loved. There is peace everywhere. People are free to grow and evolve. There is telepathy, and people are aware of the manifestation process. People exist in a state of unity. There is much better health, and that is why people live much longer. Everyone has memories of their past lives. There is a lot of wisdom and grace, and everyone is comfortable with each other. Everyone is loved. The leaders support us. There is a lot of creativity and freedom to be creative. There is contact with civilized beings from other planets, and we are all part of the galactic community as full members. In my new Atlantis, technology and nature exist peacefully. The energy is peaceful and people love being in the heat. There are enlightened beings. New bonds show us that the light is here. There is a lot of space. Dense urban environments are replaced by vibrant ecosystems. Prey animals do not feed violently. People feel one with nature. There is a lot of divine feminine energy. There are several levels of consciousness. There are lush fields. The mechanisms of life are discovered and people live healthy lives. As John Lennon sang, imagine all the people living life in peace. There is no need for greed or hunger. a brotherhood of human beings. Imagine all the people sharing the whole world. You may say I am a dreamer, but I am not the only one. I hope that one day you will join us and the world will live as one. Answers. Cobra said that Saint Germain is a being of light that has incarnated many times on Earth. The most famous incarnation of him was in 18th century France, where he was part of the nobility. He has worked hard to bring about a new era for this planet. Asked about the use of Moldavites in Atlantis, Cobra said that the Moldavite stones are connected to the Pleiadians, and Atlantis was a very Pleiadian society. In excavations such as the Venus of Willendorf, small Moldavite stones that are more than 25,000 years old were found. Moldavite and glass from the Libyan desert were also used in the altars of the goddess temples. Native Americans also used star stones to make spearheads and other objects of power. Regarding the floods of the late 19th century that supposedly caused the destruction of Tartary, Cobra responded that most of the information about Tartary is false. Russian scientists have a different historical timeline on this issue. When asked if Ripple is part of the new quantum financial system, Cobra said that Ripple will not be part of the new financial system. The resistance movement is not going to use it because it has been compromised. There is no known cryptocurrency that is part of the new quantum financial system, in his opinion. Someone asked what they should do if they invented a free energy device. Cobra said the inventors of such devices are still not completely sure, based on his personal experience. When asked about how to connect with positive dragons, Cobra responded that not all dragons are negative, especially those from the Tuban star system. He said that the Chinese jade is the stone that can be used to connect with dragon energy. When asked where the dragon ley lines are outside of Japan, Cobra responded that they are in China, Japan, and Thailand. When asked about the Book of Revelation, Cobra responded that it was a vision that was given by an angelic being to one of the Christian fathers, a little less than 2,000 years ago. Contains descriptions of the battle between the forces of light and dark forces, and the pole shift. The plan for the ascension of humanity was formulated 25,000 years ago, but the actual plan has changed slightly since the revelation was given. When asked about the Antarctica, Cobra responded that there are ruins of ancient races there, and that it's not always full of ice. Beneath that ice is a lot of real revelation. It will be released when the time is right. There are many artifacts from past civilizations. When asked about the appearance of Aldebaran humans, Cobra said that they are slightly larger than Earth humans. They are a little more robust and had a little more masculine features. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.